With no end in sight to the civil war in Sudan, the country's footballers have offered a glimmer of hope to their compatriots thanks to their unlikely qualification for next year's Africa Cup of Nations, Afcon. The conflict between the Sudanese army and the Rapid Support Forces militia began in April last year and has forced over 11 million people from their homes. Aid workers say it has created the world's worst humanitarian crisis, with the leading cause of death across the country being preventable disease and starvation. Yet despite that backdrop, coupled with being forced to play their home ties outside of Sudan and the suspension of the domestic league, the Falcons of Gideon will represent their nation at the 2025 Afcon in Morocco. It's something that's consistently in our minds. Our families are still affected by the war, forward Abubakar Issa told Newsday on the BBC World Service. The manager always says, when you're putting on the shirt, you don't just do it for your family and yourselves. You do it for everyone else's family and everyone in Sudan. For your whole country, to lift their spirits up. We're doing that through football, which is a beautiful thing. We know we're playing for a much bigger cause. A draft United Nations Security Council resolution calling for a ceasefire in Sudan has been vetoed by Russia, a move which British Foreign Secretary David Lammy described as a disgrace. Meanwhile, a recent study says the number of people killed since the conflict started is significantly higher than previously reported, with United States Special Envoy for Sudan Tom Perriello saying some estimates suggested up to 150,000 people had been killed. My family had to migrate to Egypt because you could walk out in the street and there'd be gunshots. Or there'd be gunshots flying through windows or walls, Issa said. It's very, very dangerous. We're hoping it gets settled quickly, so people can find peace. It's painful to speak about these things, but you have to think that things are going to get better. Upsetting the odds in Ghana. Sudan, ranked 110th in the world, were third seeds in their group when the 2025 Afcon qualifying draw was made in July. However, taking 4 points from a doubleheader against four-time Nations Cup winners Ghana last month put the team, which is coached by former Black Stars player and manager Kwesi Appiah, a point away from reaching the finals. Appiah's side fell to a damaging 4-0 defeat away against Niger last week, but Issa said the squad remained positive heading into their final game against already qualified Angola on Monday. The Niger game took us by surprise, the 28-year-old, who plays his club football in Thailand, explained. On the way home, we said to ourselves we're more than capable. We knew we had pressure, but at the same time we knew we could get the job done. Sudan ground out a 0-0 draw in Benghazi at their makeshift home stadium to seal second spot in Group F. Issa said the side have fed off the support of the Sudanese diaspora in their two qualifiers hosted in Libya, as well as local supporters after starting their campaign in South Sudan. We've had a really big following, he added. Obviously it's not home, it's not Sudan, but at the same time it does feel like that with the support that they show and bring to us. Against Angola it was very loud. We couldn't hear ourselves. Taking on the continent. The delayed 2021 Afcon was Sudan's most recent outing at the Continental Showpiece, a campaign that ended in the group stage. As a kid, you grow up watching Africa Cup of Nations, said Issa, who was not involved last time around. To actually be a part of history, and with what's going on in Sudan, is an amazing feeling. Next year's finals in Morocco will not kick off until December 21st, a delay which Issa described as annoying given the mood amongst the squad. Yet, despite their handicaps, Sudan are also performing admirably in preliminaries for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. They sit top of Group B, ahead of 2021 Afcon winners Senegal and two-time continental champions DR Congo, with the group winners assured of a place at the tournament in Canada, Mexico, and the USA. The Terranal Lions are scheduled to travel to face Sudan in March's international window. Our attention quickly goes to that game, Issa said. It's like we've actually got no time to think about the Afcon at this moment. Senegal are probably the favorites of the group, so we need to show what we're about. With the Nations Cup to look forward to, booking a first-ever World Cup appearance would be all the more remarkable given Sudan's circumstances, and brings some much-needed pride to a nation riven by war.